And we are back on Lowcountry Money Talk, and we've been talking a lot about retirement today, but one thing we haven't mentioned is if you're married, you need to be talking to your spouse about the retirement plan. It's not just individual.
Right.
Do people do that?
Maybe not as much as they should.
Probably not.
Good communication.
Yeah.
You know, communication with your investment advisor, your financial advisor, your retirement planner, whatever you want to call them, but also as a team with the spouse. So I see all the time people come in and it's like, well, usually it's he's taking care of it. Sometimes it's she's taking care of it, but one of the spouses will be taking care of it.
Right.
And the other one's like, I don't really like to get into those numbers. And so the one will have his spreadsheet that he's been tracking for, 85 years.
Right.
And I'm like, and I'm like, well, do you know how to do a spreadsheet and all that? And she's like, I don't care anything about that. I said, the day you're going to care about that?
When he's not there anymore.
Yeah. So the idea would be that, I would think, we'll go over these 6 questions, but what I would think is I always ask that both come in.
Yeah.
So we can have a plan and generate a plan, all of us.
Right.
And that will help whichever spouse isn't in charge of the spreadsheet to understand the plan so they don't get so bent out of shape or concerned if something happens to the other one. So, I already have I was in on the plan. So a lot of my job is just reminding people of the original plan that we put together, and it goes something like, oh yeah, I remember that. And so that's a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, so let's go through the conversation that you should be having. Do we have the same vision for retirement? I think that's a really important one.
That's important. And you'd be surprised how many times.
They probably thought they were on the same page and they're not.
Yeah, back in the old days, I used to say, well, people have different ideas, dreams, whatever, of retirement.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of the male might be on the golf course or fishing, or it usually doesn't work out exactly that way. And then, maybe spending more time with the grandkids, traveling, these type of things, whatever. But we want to ask to see, and that's when we first find out that, hey, we're not on the same page.
Yeah.
So what is the vision of your retirement? Both of you. What do you see? What do you feel? How does that look to you?
Yeah.
And then we want to start the planning process.
Well, and kind of to piggyback on that, the second question is, do you want to fully retire? Because some people don't. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, my wife won't let me retire, so you're safe. So my vision of retirement, to just share with you, was like, hey, I'm keep going as long. I mean, I like working. I enjoy numbers. I like doing investments and things. So as long as my mind holds out, I'm going to keep on trucking.
Well, I think people like to have a purpose.
Yeah, they do. And here's the thing, though. A lot of people, Betsy, they can retire from a job and they can get a consulting job with the same company and have a lot more freedom.
Right.
So maybe their retirement becomes more like not fully retiring, but maybe consulting or part-timing. One of the problems if we retire before 65 is like, well, what about Medicare, health insurance, stuff like that.
Right.
So one of the spouses may want to keep on something to where they can at least keep the health insurance.
Yeah, that's really important.
So that's one thing there.
Yeah.
So that's one thing.
Of course, another question is, where do we want to retire? And I'm just going to kind of sandwich in the other question too, is where do we want to retire and what kind of lifestyle is that? What does that look like?
Well, a lot of people move down here to the Lowcountry.
Yes.
From the Northeast. It's cheaper.
No snow.
Sunshine most of the time. The weather, all these good things.
Yeah.
But it's, I could sell, let's say, I work for the Department of Sanitation in New York City. Obviously, I'm not from New York City. But I have a home there. I work for the garbage company. I make good money because it costs more to live there. So the state maybe or whoever was matching my contributions to my 403B or whatever it may be. So that's going to be a big number compared to if I worked down south, I was getting paid less and that matching is less.
Right.
So I retire from there, sell my home just in a regular neighborhood for $1.5 million. Right. Move down here, buy me a nice home for much less, take my 401k, roll it into my IRA. That's a big number.
Yeah, it is a big number.
You know, where you retire matters because of the cost of living and such.
Absolutely.
So we have to figure that out.
And what do we see people thinking is their biggest worry when they're talking to their spouse about the retirement issue?
Outliving their money.
Yeah,
You know,
right. For
outliving
sure.
their money. It's still one of the biggest concerns.
Yeah.
So we have to design that plan. So it's like you have that worry, okay, so what are you doing about it?
Right.
And I'm not thinking about it. I'm not looking at it.
I'm just leaving it back over
I don't
here.
watch the news. I
put
don't
that in
want
the
to know.
closet. Yeah, right.
Well, let's fight that bear and get it over with.
Right.
Okay, then we don't have to worry about it anymore.
Right.
So let's put a plan together, and that'll take care of that.
And that's really the last question is, do we have a plan in place?
Yeah.
And if they don't,
Do we have our affairs in order? Well, what happens when one of us goes, or both of us? So we have to figure out that too. So what happens while we're living, we're taking our money, what happens after we have an estate plan? So all these things have to be configured and figured out.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to help you do it.
yeah, of course you are. Of course you are. And so again, I will say it again. Now is that time.
Yes.
Wherever you are in the wherever you are in the process. Now is the time to get your Revolutionary Wealth Review with Rachel. Give her a call. It is free, and as I said before, no obligation. But you do need to have $500,000 in assets. Phil, it's so good to see you. I was so happy to be here with you today.
Well, I'm glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks so much, and thank you for being with us. And we'll see you next time.